Okay.
You're with the Leafs are down 3-0. I guess there's a 2% chance based on history that they could come back to win this series. Highly unlikely. And are you saying Sheldon Keefe, if they lose, he's done?
I would expect it. Like, I wouldn't see any reason why the confidence factor would be there to bring him back. And I'm not blaming him at all. I think there's going to be wholesale changes now regardless.
Or do they look at the team they're losing to was the President's Trophy team and then lost 4 in a row in the second round, funny enough. But I think the concern this year for Toronto is so far in this second round, Tavares, Matthews, and Marner have got nothing. Now, Nylander doesn't have any points, but if you actually look at all the chances he's creating, he's been the best of the 4 by far, but he hasn't scored. But I look at it. Here's some numbers for you, Frank, just because I think when you're a big-time player, salary, and I know there's no salary in the playoffs, but guys get paid to produce. So here's some numbers for you. Marner and Matthews combined to $22.6 million. That's their cap hit. Right? They have scored. Marner scored 9 goals, 45 points in 48 games. Matthews has scored 22 goals, 44 points in 48 games. So they've combined for 31 goals, 89 points. They make $22.6 million. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid combined for $21 million. Draisaitl himself has as many goals as the two of them with 31. But
what numbers are you referencing? 31
playoff numbers. Playoff numbers.
Career playoff numbers?
Career playoff numbers.
Okay.
And McDavid and Draisaitl have combined for 57 goals, 146 points in 45 playoff games each. Marner and Matthews, 48 games each. They have 31 goals, 89 points. So the Oilers duo, Frank, has 57 more points in 3 fewer playoff games, and they make $1.6 million less.
I think those numbers are actually even misleading. Because, like, you could look at Austin Matthews' playoff totals this year and convince yourself or talk yourself into thinking that he's had a good playoff. And he had one sort of magical moment in the third period of what I guess would have been game 4.
Yeah.
And so if you looked at his numbers, like if you didn't watch the games, you'd say, oh, 9 playoff games this year, 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points. In fact, game 3 on Sunday night was the first game all playoffs long that Matthews did not have a point. So you'd say, oh, that's a pretty good run. That's why I think those numbers are totally misleading. Even look back to last year, 9 points in 7 games, 4 goals in 7 games. You'd say, oh, that's not bad. Okay, but what did he do in games 5, 6, and 7 of their first round series?
Yeah,
the numbers, I would say, mean absolutely jack shit. No offense to you.
So you're saying it's even worse?
I'm saying it's way worse.
Yeah, but dude, so way worse. They're already, it's 146 to 89. It's not even close. And so you're saying it should be 146 to 46.
It's awful. And if you look at the overall structure of the team, those 4 guys, their core 4, account for almost 50% of the cap.
That's close.
So when you look at that and you compare it, and I'm not saying compare it to any other team, just look at the series. So you want to know why the Toronto Maple Leafs are losing this series 3-0 to the Florida Panthers. Let me just read for you the Leafs scorers this round. Sam Lafferty, who was a healthy scratch in a game. Matthew Nyes, who was hurt in a game. Kerfoot, Gustafsson, who's only played 1 game. Bunting, and O'Reilly has 1 goal, but O'Reilly, I don't think, has been any good either. So, you know who has no goals? Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander.
Oh, I know.
The big question today that I got on Toronto radio, as I do every Monday morning, was, is it just as simple as firing Sheldon Keefe and trading William Nylander? And I'm like,
why Nylander?
Nylander, first off, that guy, he looks like he digs in the playoffs. And he might not have the points, but I think he's been fine.
Oh yeah, if you look at
And
all
he
the chances
provides
generated, that's why
he
I didn't have
provides
him
the
in my
most
list.
surplus value relative to cap. He's the
Yes.
last guy of the 4 that I would trade.
Yeah.
And so then you look at the rest of it, and I have a hard time figuring out Mitch Marner because his game just doesn't translate to the playoffs. This is a guy that has basically knocked on the door of 100 points each of the last 2 seasons, 97 and 99. He's a Selke Trophy finalist. He plays a complete game. And yet he's like that guy that's on the golf course that absolutely tries to kill it every time he hits the ball. He wants it so bad that he can't. The harder you try, the worse you play. I believe that. And then you're left looking at Austin Matthews and you say, well, what's going on here? A really subpar for him, average season for a guy making $11.6 million. And I'm not even convinced that he wants it. I watch a game like Sunday night, game 3, and where's the fire? Where's the intensity? He was on a milk carton. He hit the post on his first shift of the game, and I never saw him the rest of the game. And this ain't the first time that we've said that. It's not even the first time this series that we've said that. So where does this team go? I don't know what the answers are and what they do, but I'm just going to lay it back right at the feet of Brendan Shanahan, who last year at his season-ending press conference to pick through the carcass of yet again another disappointing season, and he said, quote, everything is on the table. Well, everything should be on the table this time around, because if you've listened to the pod, you know that I've made this argument with some of the worst teams in the league. The Sharks, all these other teams that have struggled to, pare down their roster. You ain't winning with them. Might as well do something different.
Where do you stand on the management? Like when you look at the construction of this team, because if you look at the blue line, player by player, where do you rank their defense?
In the league? Like somewhere in the 16
like of the 8 remaining
range.
teams, are any of the...
I'd say in the whole league, like they're somewhere in the 16 to 22 range.
Yeah, and of the 8 remaining, would they be
8th?
Dallas, Seattle, Edmonton, Vegas, Carolina.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't think Florida's defense is that much better. Let's rewind to last Monday's pod 1 week ago. We were talking about the Leafs winning round 1 8 days ago.
Oh, I know.
So I said then, how did the Panthers generate any sort of advantage when they don't have one on paper?
Oh, I thought they had it. I picked the Panthers to win that series.
No, I get it. But what I'm saying is, like, let's go through the positions. Like, no one really expected Bob to continue on a heater. So you were like, okay, best case scenario for the Panthers, the goaltending is a wash.
Well, I would say, I argued, I said, Bob is the one reason why I gave him the advantage, because he's a Vezina Trophy winner twice. I get that he hasn't been great lately, but he's found his game, and Samsonov's never been proven, ever.
Okay. So let's say you give the Panthers the edge in net. Even if you give it to them going in, like, if we're being honest now, going into the series, what could you possibly say? It's a slight advantage?
Yeah,
it's not
sure.
a big advantage.
It wasn't a massive one. It wasn't Jake Ottinger, who I thought would have a big advantage. So yeah.
Okay, so fair. Defense, I'd say a wash, because I think Ekblad is significantly better than Riley.
No, Montour has been unreal.
Yeah, Montour's been ridiculous. But then, I like Forsling, and I think Gudas is a good number 4 playoff defenseman.
I like the top 4 in Florida better.
Yeah, but okay, so better. But I'm saying I think the Leafs' third pair probably gives them a slight advantage, because I think Florida's 5-6 struggle a bit and they don't play a lot. So I'd say, again, kind of a wash. And then you look at the forward group and you say, okay, that's probably a clear edge to Toronto, top to bottom. Like, you're talking lines 1 through 4.
Yeah, see, I look at Barkov and I think he's better than any center they have in Toronto.
Okay.
I would
say,
based on playoff,
I would agree with you, but I would say this year Barkov has not been.
Yeah.
And he hasn't actually been close.
Right. And Tkachuk to Marner, very different styles of players, but as you alluded to earlier, Frank, Matthew Tkachuk's style of game And the other thing that Florida has that's way better is their top guys. You look at Bennett, you look at Tkachuk, they got a little bit of bite. Toronto to me reminds me of Edmonton many years ago. They don't have much bite on their team. And I think that's been apparent in this series.
It's abundantly, like I said, Austin Matthews, where is the fire? I don't know that he has one.